Okay, so this is going to be for lesson 1.3. First up, we have our Explorer, which is asking us to determine which one is one solution, no solution, or infinitely many solutions. So, can I get anyone to tell me what they got for 2x parentheses x plus 5 equals 2x plus 10? Justin? Infinitely many solutions? That's correct. So, first up, we're going to distribute our 2 to each term within the parentheses. When we do that, we're left with 2x plus 5 is equal to 2x plus 10, because the 2 times the 5 is 10. And then on the right-hand side, we have 2x plus 10. Now, our next step is going to be to take our variables and put it on one side of the equation. So we're going to subtract 2x from both sides. When we do that, we're left with just 10 equals 10. Now, 10 equals 10 is a true statement. So when we have a true statement, it means that there's infinitely many solutions. So we would say that this is infinitely many solutions. Raise your hand if you got that. Okay, who can tell me what they got for 5x minus 11 is equal to 3x minus 3? Brianna? 4 equals x. That's correct. So what we're going to do for this one, our first step is going to be to get our variables on one side. So we're subtracting 3x from both sides. 5x minus 3x, we're left with 2x. Still have our minus 11. We still have our minus 3 on the right-hand side. Our next step is going to be to get our 2x by itself on the left-hand side. Add 11 to both sides. We get 2x is equal to negative 3 plus 11 is 8. Now we have 2x equals 8. Our x is being multiplied by 2. The inverse of multiplication is division, so we divide each side by 2. We find that x is equal to 4. X is equal to 4 means that we have one solution, okay? So what we're going to do is, if we plug in 4 for our x right here and right here, that's the only time we'll get a true statement. If we plug in any number for x, we will not get a true statement. Does that make sense? Okay. Who can tell me what they got for 14 plus 3x minus 5 equals 2x plus 3 plus x? Caleb? Does anyone agree with that? Does anyone have a different answer? There is no solution, okay? So the way that we do this, we don't have any parentheses, so we're going to combine like terms first. So I see a 14 and I see a minus 5. So my first step on the left-hand side is going to be to combine those terms. I have my 3x by itself because that's the only one with the x. 14 minus 5 we get is plus 9. On the right-hand side, I see two terms that have x in it, 2x plus x. So I'm going to combine those terms. I get 3x plus 3. Now again, my next step is to subtract x on both sides because I want to get rid of my x's. So subtract 3x from both sides. I get 9 equals 3. Now, is 9 equals 3 a true statement? No, because 9 doesn't equal 3. So that would mean that there are no solutions. This means that if I plug in any value for x into this equation right here, I will not get a true statement. If I plug in 1 for all of my x's, I won't get a true statement. If I plug in 2 for all of my x's, I will not get a true statement. Does everyone understand that? Okay. Now we're going to head on over to the 1.3 notes. This is the following page in your packet. Again, you're going to want your notebook out, or if you don't have your notebook, a lined sheet of paper. Okay, example 1, it is in your packet, so follow along. It is asking us to solve 3x plus 4 plus 7x is equal to 5 parentheses 2x plus 1. We're solving for x and determining how many solutions. So our first step is going to be to group like terms on the left-hand side. I see two terms that have x's in it, so I'm going to group them together, 3x plus 7x. Well, 3x plus 7x is 10x, so I'm going to simplify and make it 10x plus 4. On the right-hand side, I'm going to distribute. I have parentheses, so I need to get rid of those parentheses. I distribute the 5 to both terms. 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times 1 is 5. So on the right-hand side, I should get 10x plus 5. My next step is to subtract my 10x because I want my variable on one side of the equation. When I subtract 10x from both sides, I'm left with just 4 equals 5 because 10x minus 10 is 0. And on the right-hand side, 10x minus 10 is 0 too. So I'm left with 4 equals 5. Now, is 4 equals 5 a true statement? No, 4 does not equal 5. So the ending statement is false for all values of x. Therefore, the equation has no solution. So anytime you see an equal sign that's not balanced, you know that there's no solution. Any questions on this? Okay. Extra example 1. This is not in your booklet, so this is what you'll be writing down in your notebook or on your line sheet of paper. Saying solve 3x plus 1 is equal to 4x minus 3. We're solving for x and determining how many solutions we have. Take about a minute, solve this equation, and then we'll go over it. If you're watching the video, you can pause the video and press play once you're done. About 15 more seconds, and we'll go over it. Okay, in this example, are there any parentheses? No, so we're not going to be distributing. Are there any sides of the equation where we need to group like terms? No. So our next step is going to be to get our variable to one side of the equation. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides because 3 is the smaller coefficient. So we have our 4x and our 3x, 3 is smaller than 4, so I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. This will make sure that I have a positive x at the end, okay? So 3x minus 3x is 0. So I get 1 is equal to, what's 4x minus 3x? X, just x. I bring down what's left of the equation. I have 1 equals x minus 3. Am I done? Nope, I need x by itself. So what would my next step be? I add 3 to both sides. When I do that, I get that my x is equal to what? 4. Now, how many solutions would I have if my x is equal to a value of 4? 1. I'd have 1 solution because I have an x equals. 4 is the only number that I can plug in for x on both sides to get a true statement. If I plug in any other number, I won't get a true statement. So that's why this is 1 solution. Any questions on this? Okay, example 2. This is in your booklet. Saying solve 6x plus 12 is equal to 2x minus 5 plus 4x plus 17. We're solving for x and determining how many solutions we have. So for this one, we don't have any parentheses, so we don't have to distribute anything. But on the right-hand side, we got a lot of terms. So our first step is going to be to group like terms. Left-hand side, we don't have to simplify anything in grouping like terms because it's just 6x plus 12. On the right-hand side, I see a 2x and a 4x. Those are my 2 terms that have x's in it. I'm going to combine those. So 4x plus 2x is equal to 6x. Then I have two terms that don't have x. I have a -5 and a +17. I'm going to do 17 minus 5. Simplify that to 12. So 17 minus 5 is equal to 12. Now I have 6x plus 12 equals 6x plus 12. Am I done yet? No, I still need to solve for my solution. So my next step is going to be to move the variables to the same side of the equation. I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. When I do that, my 6x minus 6x is 0. I'm left with just my 12 on the right-hand side. Same thing on the left-hand side. I subtract my 6x. I'm left with just 12. So I get 12 equals 12. Am I done now? I've solved for x, but now it's asking us to determine how many solutions. So 12 equals 12. The ending statement is true. So that means for all values of x, therefore, the equation has infinitely many solutions. That means I can plug in any number x, the same number x, into that equation and get a true statement always. So if I plug 1 in, I will always get the same answer, okay? If I plug 2 in for x, I'll always get the same answer. So that's what it means for infinitely many solutions. Here is extra example 2. This is what you're going to want to be putting in your notebook. It's -2x plus 12 plus 10x is equal to 4 parentheses 2x plus 3. Take about a minute and a half. Try this out, and then we'll go over it. Remember our steps. For first step, if we see parentheses, distribute. Second step, combining like terms on both sides. Third step, getting our variable on one side of the equation, and then solving the multi-step or one-step equation. About 30 more seconds, and then we're going to go over this. Okay, who can tell me what the first step solving this is? Evan? Yep, so we're distributing the 4 to within the parentheses. So on the left-hand side, it's the same. We have -2x plus 12 plus 10x. On the right-hand side, what did you get when you distributed the 4? So we have our 8x plus 12, because 4 times 2 is 8. We keep our x. And then 4 times 3 is 12. What's our next step? Exactly. We're combining like terms. I see a negative 2x and a 10x on the left-hand side. Those are the same. They have the same variable. So what did you do when you simplified that? Yep. So you could either do negative 2x plus 10, which is 8x, or you could think of it as 10x minus 2x. So you get 8x on the left-hand side. We still have our plus 12. So we plus 12 equals our 8x plus 12 on the right-hand side. What's our next step? We're subtracting our variable because we want our variable on one side. We subtract 8x from both sides. When we do that, we're left with just 12 on the left-hand side. It's equal to 12 on the right-hand side. Is that a true statement? So how many solutions? Infinitely many solutions. Okay, example 3. This is in your booklet. The next page. Example 3 is asking us to solve 8 parentheses x plus 2 minus 5 is equal to 6x minus 1 plus 23. So we have parentheses and we have things outside our parentheses. So our first step, girls, are you following along? Is going to be distribute on both sides. So we distribute our 8 to within the parentheses. 8 times x is 8x. 8 times 2 is 16. So we're left with 8x plus 16, and then we bring down our last term right here, and we do our minus 5. On the right-hand side, we do the same thing. We distribute our 6 to within the parentheses. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times 1 is 6, but we're subtracting, so we have our minus 6. And then we bring down our last term right here. So we get 6x minus 6 plus 23. Our next step is going to be grouping like terms and simplifying. So I see on the left-hand side, we have a 16 and a negative 5 that both don't have an x. So I'm going to do 16 minus 5. I get 11. I bring down my 8x, so I should have 8x plus 11 on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, I have a minus 6 plus 23. Minus 6 plus 23 is 17. I bring down my 6x, so I have 6x plus 17. Now I want my variable on one side of the equation. I'm going to subtract 6x from both sides. When I do that, I have 8x minus 6x. That simplifies to 2x plus 11 because I bring down my term right here. 6x minus 6x is just 0, and then we have our plus 17. Now it's just a two-step equation. I want my 2x by itself, so I subtract 11 from both sides. When I do that, I get 2x on the left-hand side because 11 minus 11 is 0. Then I have 17 minus 11, which is 6. The last step is to divide by 2 because my x is being multiplied. The inverse multiplication is division. When I do that, I'm left with just x is equal to 6 divided by 2, which is 3. So we solved our equation, but it's not done yet because it asked us to determine how many solutions. When we have x equals, the ending statement has one solution. So the only value that makes the equation true, this equation up here, is x equals 3. Any questions on this one? Okay. Here's your extra example. This is what you're writing down on your line sheet paper or notebook. It says solve 3 parentheses x minus 6 plus 12 equals 6 parentheses x plus 1 minus 3x. Solving for x and describing the number of solutions. Take some time, work this out, and then we'll go over it together. We're gonna go over this equation now. So, what was your first step when solving this example? Justin? So we're going to distribute, right? So on the left-hand side, we're distributing our 3 to both the x and the 6. When we do that, 3 times x is 3x. We're subtracting, and then 3 times 6 is 18. And then we still have our plus 12, so we just add that term. On the right-hand side, we're distributing our 6 to the parentheses. 6 times x is 6x, plus 6 times 1 is 6. Again, we have our minus 3x term, so we subtract that as well. What's our next step once we've already distributed out? Combine like terms. So on the left-hand side, I have a minus 18 plus 12. I'm going to combine those two like terms. What do I get when it's negative 18 plus 12? Negative 6. So I'm going to bring down my 3x. I'm going to do minus 6. On the right-hand side, we're combining like terms again. What am I combining now? We're combining the 6x and the negative 3x because those are the only two terms that have x's in it. 6x minus 3x is what? 3x. I have my plus 6 term that I brought down. So now on the left-hand side, I have 3x minus 6 equals 3x plus 6. What's our next step? Yep, we want our x variable on the same side. So we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. 3x minus 3x is 0. I'm left with just a minus 6 on the left-hand side. It's equal to 3x minus 3x is 0. And I get a plus 6 on the right-hand side. Now, is negative 6 equal to positive 6? No, it is not. So this equation is not true. When our solution is not true, what does that mean for how many solutions we have? We have no solution. Maybe no solution. That means for any value of x that we plug into this equation, we will not get a true statement at the end. Okay, well that wraps up lesson 1.3.